Nia Jackson stood there. Atlanta courtroom, wrists cuffed tight. Blood was trickling from split lip, tasting like copper and bad luck. Judge Victor Hargrove sneered from his bench, slamming his gavel with a sick kind of relish. Bam! Bam! Two white cops grinned behind her, their batons still warm from the beating they gave her outside a gas station for loitering. The jury? All pale faces, nodding like puppets on strings. Hargrove's voice boomed, guilty. Didn't even let Nia speak. Then she smiled. A slow, dangerous curve. You don't know who I am, she whispered. Room froze. Ice cold. What would her next move unleash? Before we dive in deep, let me know where you're watching from. If you stand for justice, for shattering corruption into dust, hit that like button. Subscribe for more explosive stories like this one. You don't want to miss it. Nia Jackson's day had started like any other in Atlanta. The city's humid air clinging to her skin as she stepped out a nondescript sedan near a gas station on Peachtree Road. She adjusted her earpiece. Discreet CIA comms device, muttering, status update to the team about a sting operation 2 counties over. Sun dipped low, painted the cracked pavement orange. The station's neon sign flickered, buzzing like a dying insect. She didn't notice the patrol car lurking across the street. Headlights off, engine idling. Inside, officers Dale Pute and Shane Carver watched her every move, eyes narrowing at the sight of a black woman in a tailored blazer standing too long near a pump. To them, she wasn't a professional. She was a target. Pute, wiry man, buzz cut, permanent scowl, leaned over to Carver. His partner was a stocky brute with a sunburned neck and a habit of chewing tobacco. Look at her, fiddling with something. But she's up to no good, Pute said, voice thick with contempt. Carver spat into a cup, nodded. Yeah, it doesn't belong here. Let's shake her down. Didn't need a reason beyond the color of her skin. In their minds, that was plenty. The gas station was in a good part of town, meaning white, and Nia's presence was an affront to their unspoken rules. They flipped on lights, tires crunching gravel as they rolled up, cutting off her path to the sedan. Nia barely had time to register the flashing red and blue. Pute was out, baton already in hand, barking, hands where I can see them. She froze, instincts kicking in, raising her palm slowly. I'm just waiting for a colleague, she said, tone even professional, the kind she'd use to de-escalate a dozen covert ops. Carver smirked, circling her like a vulture. Boots scuffing asphalt. Sure you are, sweetheart. What's that in your ear? Dealing something. He yanked the earpiece out, crushed it under his heel before she could protest. Snap. The comms went dead. Her lifeline to the CIA severed in a crack of plastic. She clenched her jaw, memorizing his badge number. 4729. Pute grabbed her arm, twisted it hard enough to bruise. Slammed her chest first against the hood of their cruiser. Metal burned hot against her skin, still warm from the Georgia sun. You people always got an excuse, he snarled. Breath sour with coffee and hate. Nia's cheek pressed into the hood, blood welling from a cut where her lip caught the edge. She didn't scream, didn't beg, just breathed slow, counting seconds. Carver rummaged through her jacket, pulled out her wallet, then paused, a grin splitting his face. Well, what's this? He slipped a small bag of cocaine from his own pocket, planted it in hers with a theatrical flourish. Looks like we got a dealer here, Dale. Nia's eyes narrowed, catching the sleight of hand. But she said nothing. Not yet. She knew how this game worked. Had seen it play out in reports she'd filed on dirty cops across the country. They cuffed her, steel biting in her wrists, shoved her into the back seat, laughing as they radioed it in. Female suspect. Resisting. Possession. Pute lied into the mic, winking at Carver. Drive to the precinct was a blur of slurs and threats. Voices overlapping in a chorus of venom. You're going to rot where you belong, Carver said, glancing back at her in the rear view. Ain't nobody coming for you. Nia stared out the window, city lights smearing past, her mind already mapping their downfall. At the precinct, a squat brick building reeking of bleach and stale smoke, they hauled her into a holding room. Walls were stained yellow, table bolted to the floor. Single bulb buzzed overhead, casting harsh shadows. Pute uncuffed her just long enough to shove her into a chair. Leaning close, knuckles cracking as he flexed them. You got a lawyer, huh? Let's see how fast they forget you. She straightened, voice calm despite the ache in her jaw. I want my call. Carver snorted, ripped the phone cord from the wall, tossed it aside. Oops, looks like it's broke. Guess you're stuck with us. They took turns taunting her, Pute pacing like a caged dog, Carver leaning against the wall, spitting tobacco juice into a corner. Always the same story with your kind, Pute said, lip curling. Think you can talk your way out, but this ain't your turf. Nia's gaze flicked between them, cataloging every word, every twitch. She'd faced worse. Cartel bosses, rogue spies. But this was personal. A raw, petty hatred she'd known since childhood in Birmingham's roughest corners. She leaned back, crossing arms, letting them think she was beaten. Inside, pulse steadied, training kicking in. They'd slipped up already, crushing her calms, planting evidence. Amateurs. Hours ticked by, room growing stuffier, air thick with arrogance. Then a knock rattled the door. Desk sergeant poked his head in, mustache twitching. Hargrove wants her in court now. Says it's a priority. Pute grinned, clapping Carver on the shoulder. Judge will bury her quick. Let's roll. Cuffed her again. Tighter this time. Marched her out past cells where other black faces stared through bars. Silent witnesses to the routine. The courthouse loomed 5 blocks away, hulking relic of white columns and stained glass. Its grandeur a lie masking decades of rigged scales. Inside, the courtroom smelled of polished wood and old paper, air-conditioned to a chill that prickled Nia's skin. Judge Victor Hargrove sat high behind his bench, a 60-year-old relic with silver hair and a face carved from granite. Robes pristine, soul rotten. He'd ruled Atlanta's legal system for 30 years. Kingpin in a kingdom of corruption. His rulings were rubber stamps for cops like Pute and Carver. His eyes, cold and gray, skimmed Nia as she was shoved to the defendant's table, then flicked to the jury box. 12 faces, all white, handpicked from his loyal pool. Retired bankers, housewives from gated suburbs, a mechanic with a Confederate tattoo peeking from his sleeve. No chance of fairness here. Hargrove didn't waste time. Case number 732. Possession and resisting arrest, he drawled, tapping a pen against his desk. Rhythm slow, deliberate, like a countdown to doom. Pute and Carver stood at the back, arms folded, smirking, like they'd already won. Prosecutor Paul Grayson, wiry man, buzzard's beak nose, navy suit, strutted forward, laying out charges with a practiced sneer. This woman's a menace, Your Honor. Caught red-handed. Fought our officers. We can't let her kind run loose. Nia's public defender, a kid fresh out of law school, named Jamal Evans, fumbled with notes, sweat beading on his forehead. He wasn't ready for this. Nia leaned over, voice a whisper cutting through his panic. Don't fight yet. Let them dig deeper. Jamal blinked, confused, but nodded. She sat back, split lips stinging, watching Hargrove orchestrate the farce. He called Pute to the stand first. Cop swaggered up, swearing on a Bible he didn't believe in. Spun a tale of Nia lunging at him with wild eyes, cocaine bag falling from her pocket. Carver backed it up, tobacco-stained, teeth flashing as he lied about her violent resistance. The jury lapped it up, heads bobbing like they'd rehearsed it. Hargrove didn't blink, scribbled something, lips twitching with satisfaction. Grayson played the doctor body cam footage, grainy images showing Nia reaching for something. Her crushed earpiece edited out. Room hummed with murmurs. Jury's eyes hardening. Jamal stammered an objection. Hargrove waved it off, gavel cracking like a whip. Overruled. I've heard enough. He leaned forward, staring down at Nia, voice dripping with venom. You've wasted this court's time. Guilty. 20 years. No parole. Cops hooped softly at the back, fists bumping. Bailiffs grabbed Nia's arms, dragging her toward the exit, heels scraping the floor. She didn't resist, didn't flinch, even as Hargrove's gavel slammed again, sealing her fate. Courtroom blurred past. Jury's smug faces. Grayson's triumphant grin. Cops' laughter echoing in her ears. They thought they'd won. Thought they'd crushed her. Fools. In the holding area, a dank cell with peeling paint, she waited until guards turned away. Slipping a hand in her shoe, she pulled out a tiny burner phone, screen glowing faintly. Fingers moved fast, texting one word to her CIA team. Now. She tucked it back, leaned against the wall, blood still seeping from her lip. Trap was set, but Pute and Carver weren't done playing yet. The Atlanta courtroom buzzed with a sick energy. Nia Jackson stood at the defendant's table, wrists raw from cuffs, blazer torn where Officer Dale Pute had slammed her against the cruiser hours earlier. Air stank of wax polish and sweat, ceiling fans whirring lazily above a sea of white faces. Judge Victor Hargrove loomed on his bench, silver hair glinting under fluorescent lights. Gray eyes locked on Nia with a predator's glee. This wasn't a trial. It was a lynching dressed up in legal robes. Everyone in the room knew it. Jury? 12 hand-picked bigots. Sat stiff in their box, stares dripping with disdain. Retired banker adjusted his tie. Housewife clutched her purse. Mechanic flexed his arm, Confederate ink on his skin winking at Nia like a promise. Hargrove banged his gavel. Sound sharp, cutting through murmurs. Order. Let's get this over with, he said, voice a low growl thick with southern drawl. He didn't care about procedure. Didn't need to. This was his kingdom. Nia was the prey he'd been itching to gut. Officers Pute and Shane Carver lounged at the back. Uniforms crisp despite blood still flecking Carver's baton from Nia's beating. They grinned, whispering, confidence unshaken. Prosecutor Paul Grayson strutted to the center, navy suit pristine, buzzard-like nose twitching as he sniffed victory. Tossed a stack of papers onto the evidence table, turning to the jury with a smirk. This woman's a plague on our city. Caught with drugs. Attacked our brave officers. She's everything wrong with Atlanta. Nia's public defender, Jamal Evans, barely 25, fumbled with a yellow legal pad. Tie crooked, hands trembling. He'd been assigned 10 minutes before trial. A sacrificial lamb in Hargrove's circus. Nia leaned close, voice a whisper slicing through his nerves. Don't fight yet. Let them dig deeper. Jamal's brow furrowed, brown eyes darting to her. But he nodded, trusting her calm despite the storm brewing. She sat back, split lip throbbing, mind racing. She'd sent the signal now from her burner phone. CIA team was out there, gears turning. But she needed Hargrove to overplay his hand. He would. Always did. Grayson called Pute to the stand first. Cop swaggered up, buzz cut gleaming, thin lips curling as he swore on the Bible. She was loitering, acting shifty, he lied. Voice steady, rehearsed. When we approached, she lunged at me. Wild, like she was high. That's when the coke fell out her pocket. Jury leaned in, eating it up, heads bobbing in sync. Carver went next, spitting tobacco juice into a cup he'd snuck in. Sunburned neck flushed as he backed Pute's story. She swung at me too. Took both of us to wrestle her down. Dangerous type. No respect for the law. His grin widened, daring Nia to contradict him. She didn't. Not yet. Eyes flicked to Hargrove, catching the twitch in his jaw, the satisfaction in his stare. Grayson played the ace up his sleeve. Dr. Body Cam footage. Screen flickered to life, showing grainy images of Nia outside the gas station. Her hand moved to her ear, adjusting her crushed calms, but the edit cut there made it look like she was reaching for a weapon. Next frame jumped to her lunging, a clumsy splice of her stumbling as Pute shoved her. Gasps rippled through the jury. Banker muttering, typical. Housewife clutching her pearls. Jamal shot to his feet, voice cracking. Objection, Your Honor. That footage is manipulated. Hargrove's gavel crashed down, silencing him. Overruled. Sit down, boy, or I'll hold you in contempt. Jamal sank back, face flushed. Grayson smirked, turning to the jury. You see it yourselves? She's guilty as sin. Room tilted against Nia. Air growing heavier. Walls seeming to close in. Grayson paced, polished shoes clicking, building his case like a preacher at a revival. This isn't just about one woman. It's about keeping our streets safe from her kind. Drug dealers, thugs leeching off good folks. She fought our officers, resisted justice, We've got witnesses. Evidence. Her own actions on tape. What more do you need? Jury nodded. Minds made up before trial began. Hargrove leaned forward, pen scratching notes, lips curling into a faint smile. Didn't need to hear more, but let Grayson ramble, savoring the performance. Nia watched it all. Pulse steady. Face a mask. She'd seen this script before. Birmingham 92. Cousin railroaded for a joint he never smoked. DC 05. Friend framed by a cop with a grudge. This was bigger, though. Hargrove wasn't just a racist judge. He was a kingpin. Pute and Carver were his knights, enforcing a system built to crush people like her. She flexed her fingers. Cuffs biting. Dull ache. Waited. Her team was close. Could feel it. But she needed the trap to snap shut at the perfect moment. Hargrove's arrogance would be his noose. Grayson wrapped up, voice rising to a crescendo. Ladies and gentlemen, you've seen the proof. She's a menace, a liar, a threat to everything we hold dear. Give her what she deserves. He sat, smoothing his tie, smirk a blade aimed at Nia. Hargrove cleared his throat, adjusting robes, gaze finally settling on her. Defense? Anything to say? Jamal opened his mouth. Nia touched his arm, stopping him. She stood, slow, deliberate, voice cutting through the room like a shard of glass. You're building a house of cards, Your Honor. It's going to fall. Hargrove's eyes narrowed, flicker of unease crossing his face. But he laughed. Low, cruel, bold words for a convict. Save it for prison. Jury didn't deliberate long. 10 minutes tops. Filed back in. Foreman, squat man with a receding hairline, reading verdict with relish. Guilty on all counts. Pute and Carver fist bumped at the back. Laughter a jagged edge in the air. Hargrove leaned forward, gavel poised like a guillotine. Nia Jackson, I sentence you to 20 years in state prison. No parole. Maybe you'll learn some respect there. Room erupted in murmurs. Jury beaming. Grayson clapping Pute on the back. Bailiffs grabbed Nia's arms, grip bruising, dragging her toward the holding cell door. Heels scrape hardwood, blazer catching on a splintered edge. Didn't struggle. Hargrove banged his gavel one last time, sound echoing like a gunshot. Court's adjourned. Get her out of my sight. Bailiffs hauled her through a side exit. Courtroom fading behind her. Grayson's smug grin. Jury's cold stares. Pute and Carver's triumphant whoops. They thought they'd buried her. Thought this was the end. In a holding cell, a concrete box with a flickering bulb, Nia slumped against the wall, breath steady despite blood crusting her lip. Burner phone was still tucked in her shoe. Single message sent. Now, her team was moving, but the cops weren't done. She could hear boots in the hall. Voices low, plotting. This wasn't over. Just getting started. What do you think about a judge like Hargrove rigging the system so blatantly? Drop a comment with number 1 if you think he deserves to crash and burn for this. Then smash that like button. Subscribe to see his empire crumble. How far would you go if you were Nia, framed and facing 20 years? Picture yourself in her shoes. Would you fight silent like her or scream the truth? Hit that subscribe bell so you don't miss her next move. Now, here's the real question. What's waiting for Nia behind those cell bars that could turn this whole game upside down? Convoy rolled out of Atlanta's courthouse under a sky bruised with dusk, air thick with exhaust and faint hum of cicadas. Nia Jackson sat in the back of a prison van, wrist cuffed to a metal bar, steel cold against bruised skin. Blood crusted her lip from the gas station beating. Blazer hung in tatters, but eyes stayed sharp, scanning 2 guards up front. One chewed gum, jaw popping rhythmically. Others stared ahead, fingers drumming the wheel. Didn't speak, didn't need to. Silence screamed orders. Nia knew who'd sent them. Judge Victor Hargrove. Her burner phone text now had reached her CIA team, but time was a blade at her throat. Van lurched onto a back road, tires crunching gravel, city's glow fading behind a wall of pines. Nia flexed fingers, testing cuffs, mind racing. Hargrove wouldn't let her reach state prison alive, not with her whispered threat still echoing in his courtroom. You don't know who I am. He'd rigged the trial, sure, but this was different. Panic, sloppy, desperate. She'd use it. Her earpiece was gone, crushed by Officer Shane. Carver. But she wasn't defenseless. Tucked in her hair, a thin hairpin gleamed. Relic from a mission in Bogota. She worked it free. Slow. Silent. Breath steady despite ache in ribs. Von Schlot. Pulling into an abandoned way station. Rusted scales tilting in weeds. Guards exchange a glance. Stepped out. Boots thudding on ground. Nia tensed. Hairpin poised between fingers. Back door swung open. Two figures loomed. Pute and Carver, disguised in orange jumpsuits. Badges swapped for shivs. Pute's buzz cut glistened with sweat. Scowl tighter than ever. Carver's sunburned neck twitched as he gripped a blade. Tobacco-stained grin gone feral. Hargrove says hi. Pute snarled. Lunging first. Shiv slashed toward her throat. Glint of steel in dim light. Nia twisted. Cuffs clanking. Jammed hairpin into Pute's wrist. He yelped. Blade clattering to floor. Blood spurting as he stumbled back. Carver roared. Charging her. Shiv aimed at her gut. She kicked out. Heel cracking his knee. Then yanked hairpin free. Stabbing it into his hand. He howled. Dropping weapon. But swung a fist. Catching her ribs. Pain exploded through her side. Huh. Jagged. Felt wet snap of a blade sinking in an inch deep just below her lung. Blood soaked her shirt. Warm. Sticky. But she gritted teeth. Slamming elbow into Carver's jaw. He crumpled. Dazed. Pute recovered. Tackling her against Van's wall. Metal groaned under weight. Vision blurring as Pute's hands closed around her throat. You're done, bitch, he hissed. Breath rancid. Fingers squeezing. Nia clawed at his face. Nails raking cheek. Drove hairpin into his ear. He screamed. Staggering off. Blood streaming down his neck. She gasped. Sucking air. Side pulsing with every breath. Guards shouted outside. Sirens wailing in distance. Her team, maybe? Too far. Carver lunged again. Shiv back in hand. Slicing her arm as she dodged. She grabbed his wrist. Twisting until it snapped. Scream echoing as he fell. Pute scrambled for his blade. Nia kicked it away. Collapsing against bench. Blood pooling beneath her. Van rocked as guards piled in. Guns drawn. Yelling. She's escaping. Hauled her out. Legs buckling. Tossed her into a holding cell at the way station. Concrete box. Bars rusted red. Floor slick with grime. Hit the ground hard. Wounded ribs screaming. Arm leaking crimson onto cement. Door slammed shut. Lock clicking with finality. Pute and Carver limped off. Clutching injuries. Muttering curses as guards radioed Hargrove. Nia curled against wall. Breath shallow. Shirt clinging to gash. She'd survived. Barely. But fight had drained her. Hairpin gone. Lost in scuffle. Her team? Sirens faded. Blocked maybe. Or misdirected. Footsteps echoed outside. Heavy. Deliberate. Cell door creaked open. Hargrove stepped in. Pristine robes swapped for black suit. Silver hair, stark against gloom, towered over her. Gray eyes glinting with malice. King inspecting a fallen pawn. Thought you'd slip away, huh? He said. Voice low. Venomous. No one will miss you. Just another thug off the streets. Crouched close enough for her to smell his cologne. Sandalwood and power. Lips curling into sneer. Your little stunt in court is over. You're nothing now. Nia coughed. Blood-flecking lips. Forced a laugh. Sharp. Defiant. Check my file, fool. Hargrove's smirk faltered. Brow creasing. Stood. Snapping fingers at a guard hovering in doorway. Give me your records. Now. Guard, lanky kid with buzz cut, scurried off. Returning minutes later with thin dossier. Edges curled from haste. Hargrove snatched it. Flipping open. Eyes scanning first page. Face drained of color. Paper trembling in hands. Central Intelligence Agency, he muttered. Words choking him. Head of Internal Investigations. Looked down at Nia. Sprawled in her own blood. Smile widening despite pain. You're bluffing, he spat. Voice cracked. Doubt seeping in. Nia, tilted head. Gaze piercing through haze. Am I? Rasped. Laugh turning into cough. Blood bubbling at lips. Hargrove's jaw tightened. Mind racing. Wasn't just some random arrest. She was a federal ghost. Woman who toppled cartels and senators. Now bleeding out his trap. Kumpa dossier. Tossing into corner. Sneer returning harder. Colder. Doesn't matter. You won't live to tell it. Turn to guard. Finish her. Make it quick. Kid hesitated. Eyes darting to Nia. Then nodded. Pulling pistol from belt. Hargrove stepped out. Shoes clicking on concrete. Leaving her to die. Guard raised gun. Hand shaking. Sweat beading on forehead. Nia stared him down. Voice a whisper through pain. You pull that trigger, you're next. He froze. Barrel wavering. Lowered it. Muttering shit. I didn't sign up for this. Bolted. Doors slamming behind him. Nia slumped back. Breath ragged. Gash in ribs pulsing with every heartbeat. Bought time. Maybe minutes. But Hargrove wasn't done. He'd seen File. Knew who she was. Still chose war. Siren's gone now. Night silent except for drip of blood on floor. Team was out there. But she was alone. Cornered. Bleeding out. Hargrove's next move would be worse. Could feel in her bones. Nia Jackson lay slumped against cold concrete wall of way station cell. Blood pooling beneath her from shiv wound and ribs. Air reeked of rust and mildew. Flickering bulb overhead casting jagged shadows across torn blazer. Breath came in shallow gasps. Each one a stab of fire through chest. But I stayed sharp. Locked on dossier, Judge Victor Hargrove had just crumpled and tossed in a corner. Central Intelligence Agency. Head of Internal Investigations. Truth he'd seen. Refused to accept. He stood over her. Black suit pristine against grime. Silver hair glinting like a crown. You're a dead woman, he hissed. Gray eyes burning with hate. No file changes that. Hargrove snatched dossier back up. Fingers trembling as he ripped it apart. Pages fluttering to floor like ash. Turned to lanky guard who'd balked at shooting Nia. Voice snapping like whip. Get Pute and Carver. We in this now. Gar nodded. Bolting out. Boots echoing down hall. Hargrove crouched again. Close enough for Nia to smell sandalwood cologne. Sneer, twisting granite face. Your little CIA friends won't find you. By morning, you're a suicide. Another junkie who couldn't hack it. Nia coughed. Blood-flecking lips. Met his gaze. You're scared, Victor. I see it. Jaw clenched. But he stood. Brushing off suit. Stormed out. Cell door slamming shut. Minutes later, officers Dale Pute and Shane Carver shuffled in. Orange jumpsuits swapped back for uniforms. Faces bruised from night's fight back. Pute's cheek bore her nail marks. Red slash on her buzz cut. Carver's hand bandaged. Wrist swollen from her twist. Carried a toolbox. Metal clanking ominously. Boss says you're done, Pute growled. Popping lid to reveal pliers. Gas canister. Length of hose. Carver grinned. Tobacco-stained teeth flashing. Gonna make it look real sad. Overdose. Gas leak? Take your pick. Nia's pulse raced. Mind scrambling despite pain. Survived their shivs. But this was colder. More calculated. Hargrove wanted her erased. No loose ends. Pute yanked her up by arm. Ribs screaming as he shoved her against bars. Carver rigged hose to canister. Twisting valve until faint hiss filled air. Smell hit Nia fast. Sharp. Chemical. Lungs burning as she coughed harder. Blood dripping on his shoes. Breathe deep, Carver said, chuckling as he taped hose near her face. Pute stepped back, watching her slump. Scowl softening into triumph. Night-night, princess. Vision blurred. Room spinning. But fingers brushed floor. Finding frayed wire from busted light socket. A spark. All she needed. Gripped it. Hands slick with sweat and blood. Waited. Gas thickened. Head pounding. Chest tightening like vice. Pute turned to Carver, muttering, give it 5, then we drag her out. Nia's eyes fluttered. Body sagging. But mind clung to plan. Flicked wire against metal bar. Tiny spark flaring. Then another. Third caught. Flash igniting gas in deafening boom. Wall exploded outward. Concrete chunks flying. Blast throwing Pute and Carver against bars. Nia rolled through hole. Blazer singed. Ribs a furnace of agony. Hit gravel outside. Coughing blood and ash. Night, air cold against skin. Way station burned behind her. Flames licking sky. Sirens wailing somewhere far off. Staggered to feet. Limping into Atlanta's underbelly. Maze of alleys and shuttered shops. Legs shook, arm bleeding anew, but pushed on, ducking behind dumpster as cop cars screeched past. Burner phone gone. Lost in blast. But team knew last location. They'd come. Just had to survive. Tore strip from blazer. Tying around ribs. Pressure slowing bleed. City hummed around her. Oblivious to war she'd sparked. Then she saw it. Face on newsstand TV. Helena blooding. Gulp. Killing fugitiva. Heiress escapes. Hargrove's voice crackled through. Granite face filling screen. Nia Jackson is a terrorist. Shoot on sight. Stomach dropped. He'd flipped script. Turned survival into death sentence. Every cop, every vigilante in Atlanta would hunt her now. Limped deeper into shadows. Finding rusted fire escape. Climbing until reached rooftop. Comms dead. But whispered in the night, come on, guys. Below, city pulsed with rage. Hargrove's media puppets spinning lies. Sank against vent. Breath ragged. Earpiece crackled. Static. Then voice. Nia, we're blocked. Feds are compromised. Team was out there, but someone had cut them off. Hargrove's reached deeper than she'd thought. Scanned skyline. City lights smearing into haze. Ribs throbbed. Arm hung limp. Mind raced. Explosion bought freedom. But Hargrove countered fast, painting her as monster. Alone. Hunted. Ghost and city turned against her. Pute and Carver would recover. Hargrove would regroup. Next strike would be worse. Clenched fists. Blood seeping through makeshift bandage. He thought he'd won. Thought he'd buried her. But she'd seen fear. Felt it in his trembling hands. Not over. Not by a long shot. Can you believe Hargrove's nerve? Framing Nia as a terrorist after trying to gas her out? Drop a comment with number 1 if you think this judge needs to face the fire he's lit. Then hit that like button. Subscribe to watch his lies unravel. What would you do if the whole city turned on you for fighting back? Imagine being Nia, bleeding, alone, no one to trust. Would you run or strike? Smash that subscribe bell for the next twist. Now picture this. What's lurking in Atlanta's shadows that could make Nia's escape a trap she never saw coming? Nia Jackson crouched on rooftop, breath shallow. Atlanta's skyline sprawling beneath her like jagged wound under moon's pale glow. Blood seeped through blazer strip tied around ribs. Shiv wound pulsing with every heartbeat. Grazed arm throbbed from way station escape. City's humid air clung to skin, thick with scent of asphalt and distant smoke. Below, sirens wailed. Relentless chorus cutting through night as Judge Victor Hargrove's manhunt turned Atlanta into war zone. Face flashed on every screen, every corner newsstand. Brenda Kopkeling terrorist. Hargrove's voice boomed from TV bolted to pawn shop wall. Granite face twisted with fury. Nia Jackson is armed and dangerous. $50,000 to the patriot who brings her down. Streets churned with hostility. Cop cars prowled, lights painting alleys red and blue. Hargrove's bounty ignited darker force. Racist vigilantes spilled out. Pickup trucks roaring through black neighborhoods. Confederate flags snapping in wind. Nia watched from above as mob torched barber shop on Auburn Avenue. Flames licking sky. Glass shattering under baseball bats. Flush her out, man bellowed. Voice raw with hate. Shotgun raised. Didn't care who got hurt. Didn't care about truth. To them, she was every stereotype they'd been taught to fear. Aglovli match. Ribs ached. Mind stayed sharp. Needed shelter. Needed time. Slid down drain pipe. Boat scraping rust. Landing in. Narrow alley behind burning shop. Heat stung face. Smoke curling into lungs. Push forward. Limping toward flickering neon sign. Joe's Cuts. Dorhung Ayar. Owner, wiry black man with graying hair, peering out. Eyes wide with panic. Get in, he whispered, waving her inside. Nia slipped through. Doors slamming shut behind her. Roar of mob muffled by brick walls. Shop smelled of pomade and leather. Mirrors cracked. Chairs toppled from looters. Name's Joe, he said. Looking both. Saw you on news. Ain't right what they're doing. Nia nodded, collapsing in a chair. Breath ragged. Thanks, Joe. Just need a minute. Handed her towel. Hands shaking. She pressed it to ribs. Wincing as blood-soaked cloth. They're burning everything, he muttered, peering through slit in boarded window. Say you killed cops? That true? Met his gaze. Voice steady despite pain. No, they framed me. I'm fighting back. Joe nodded, pulling first aid kit from under counter. Stitched wound with trembling fingers. Needle biting skin. Didn't flinch. Eyes scanning room for exits. Stitches held. Bleeding slowed. Nia stood. Testing weight. Gotta move, she said. But Joe pointed a trapdoor behind counter. Basement. Hide there. They're close. Hesitated. Then nodded. Slipping down wooden steps into damp, dark space lined with shelves of old razors and canned goods. Trapdoor clicked shut above. Joe's footsteps fading as he returned to shop. Leaned against wall. Grazed leg stiffening. Pulled shard of glass from pocket. Makeshift weapon from alley. Comms crackled faintly. Static hissing. Nia, we're pinned. Hargrove's got the roads locked. Team out there. But she was ghost now. Cut off. Minutes ticked by. Basement air growing stale. Shouts erupted above. Boots stomped. Glass crunched. Joe's voice rose. Sharp with defiance. Ain't nobody here. Thud followed. Joe groaning as he hit floor. Nia tensed. Gripping glass shard. Pulse pounding in ears. Trapdoor flew open. Officer Shane Carver's sunburned face glared down. Bandage-wrapped hand clutching pistol. Found you, he sneered. Descending steps. Boots thudding like hammer blows. Pute followed. Cheeks still raw from nails. Buzz cut slick with sweat. Hargrove said no loose ends, he growled. Drawing baton. Nia lunged. Slashing Carver's arm with glass. Blood spraying as he cursed. Dropping gun. Kicked it away. But Pute swung. Baton cracking shoulder. Pain exploding through arm. Stumbled. Catching herself on shelf. Cans clattering to floor. Carver recovered. Tackling her. Weight pinning her against wall. You're dead, he spat. Good hand clawing for throat. Drove glass into his thigh. Twisting deep. Scream echoing as he fell. Pute charged. Baton raised. Dodged. Grabbed rusted pipe from floor. Swung. Catching jaw. Bone crunching as he crumpled. Blood pooling from mouth. Staggered up steps. Shoulder screaming. Leg grazed by stray bullet. Carver fired into chaos above. Joe lay sprawled near counter. Lips split. Eyes fluttering. Go, he rasped. Pointed a back door. Nia nodded. Limping out into alley. Mobs roar louder now. Flames painting night orange. Ducked behind dumpster. Comms crackling again. Nia, send proof. Team's voice cut through. Pulled tiny recorder from shoe. Backup she kept since gas station. Press play. Whispering, Hargrove's burning the city. Get this out. Hit send. File beaming to team's secure line. Tossed device into shadows. Alley blurred as she ran. Leg dragging. Blood seeping from grazes. Hargrove's face flickered on billboard. Voice booming through news chopper's feed. She's finished Atlanta. Then was knife and gut. Confidence unshaken despite escape. Cop cars screeched around corners. Vigilantes howled. Shotguns blasting into night. Nia slipped into storm drain. Water cold against ankles. Breath fogging in dark. Survived again. Sent proof. But Hargrove's machine roaring louder. He'd turn evidence into noise. Drown it in chaos. Clenched fists. Pipe still in hand. Body a map of pain. Not over. Next fight would be bloodier. Nia Jackson stumbled through Atlanta's storm drain. Icy water sloshing around ankles. Grazed leg burning with every step. Blood oozed from ribs where Shiv had pierced her. Makeshift bandage soaked through. Shoulder throbbed from Officer Dale, Pute's baton blow in barbershop basement. Rusted pipe she'd used to crack his jaw dangled in hand. Slick with his blood. Grim trophy of survival. Above, city roared with chaos. Sirens wailing. Vigilante trucks roaring past. Confederate flags flapping like war banners. Judge Victor Hargrove's manhunt turned Atlanta into furnace of hate. Nia was spark he couldn't snuff out. Recorder's proof was out. Sent to CIA team. But static and dead comms told her she was still alone. Drain opened into littered alley. Air thick with smoke from torch shops. Distant crack of gunfire echoing off brick walls. Nia's breath fogged in night. Body screaming for rest. Pushed on. Boots crunching broken glass. Needed shelter. Lifeline. Shadow moved ahead. Tall. Broad. Stepping from behind dumpster. You. Deep voice called. Steady but urgent. Froze. Pipe raised. Pulse hammering. Man stepped into moonlight. Black activist in his 30s. Dreadlocks tied back. Jacket patched with protest pins. Marcus Tate, he said. Hands up. I run Freedom Watch. Saw your face on news. You need help. Nia lowered pipe. Eyes scanning him. Wary but desperate. You armed. Rasped. Voice rough from smoke and pain. Marcus shook head. Lifting jacket to show empty pockets. Just here to get you off street. Hargrove's got city locked down. Nodded. Limping toward him. Leg dragging. Led her through maze of back streets. Past burning cars and shattered windows to boarded-up warehouse on edge of Vine City. Door creaked open, revealing dim room. Cot. Sink. Laptop glowing on crate. Safe house, Marcus said. Looking both. Rest here. Collapsed on a cot. Ribs furnace of agony. Blood seeping on a thin mattress. Marcus knelt beside her. Hand steady as he pulled medkit from shelf. You're a mess, he muttered. Cleaning wounds with alcohol. Sting sharp against skin. Gritted teeth. Watching him stitch leg. Fingers quick. Practiced. Why help me, she asked. Voice low. Probing. Medgage. Brown eyes fierce. Hargrove's been screwing us for years. Cops too. You're fighting back. That's enough. Nia exhaled. Tension easing. Needed ally. Marcus felt real. Finished stitches. Wrapping ribs in fresh gauze. Handed water bottle. Drink. Then talk. Gulped it down. Cold, soothing, parched throat. Lean back. Mind clearing. I'm CIA, she said. Voice steady despite pain. Head of internal investigations. They framed me at that gas station. Planted drugs. Rigged trial. I've got proof out there now. Marcus's eyes widened. Narrowed with resolve. That recorder thing? Saw it trending. Pew planning coke. People are pissed. Go that laptop. Pulling up live feed. Protests flared across Atlanta. Crowds chanting name. Signs reading justice for NIA. Nodded. Flicker of hope sparking. I need that video everywhere. Can you leak it wider? Marcus grinned. Cracking knuckles. Already on it. My network's got reach. We'll blast it global. Two-pit fussed. Uploading file to encrypted sites. Fingers flying over keys. Nia watched. Breath steadying. Pain dulling under care. For first time in hours, felt sliver of control. Marcus plugged in charger. Laptop humming. Turned to her. Rest now. I'll keep watch. Closed eyes. Exhaustion pulling her under. Trusting him to hold line. Hours passed. Warehouse quiet except for laptop's faint buzz. Nia woke to sirens screaming closer. Instincts kicking in. Sat up. Ribs protesting. Saw Marcus at window. Face tight. Cops, he whispered. Peering through crack. Too many. Before could stand, door exploded inward. Wood splintering. Flashlights blinding. Officers swarmed. Guns drawn. Shouts overlapping. Hands up. Nia froze. Pipe across room. Useless. Marcus spoon. Hands raised, but eyes flickered with something off. Guilt maybe. Officer Shane Carver stormed in. Bandaged hand gripping pistol. Sunburned neck flushed with rage. Told you we'd find her, he sneered. Nia got twisted. Marcus. Rasped. Searching face. Looked away. Jaw tight. Carver laughed. Guttural sound. Sold you out for 10 grand. Hargrove's generous. Betrayal hit harder than shiv. Breath catching. Cop grabbed arms. Yanking up. Stitches Tora. Blood seeping anew. Didn't scream. Marcus muttered sorry. Voice hollow. But didn't look at him. Carver shoved tear gas canister through window. Room filling with choking fog. Nia coughed. Lungs burning as they dragged her toward exit. Twisted. Diving for floor. Glass from shattered window. Shredding arms. Rolled. Hit pavement outside. Gas stinging eyes. Arms bleeding rivers on asphalt. Bullets whizzed past. Pinging off warehouse wall. Carver's pistol barking as he fired. She's running, yelled. Voice thick with hate. Nia scrambled up. Leg buckling. Bolted into night. Safe house swallowed by smoke behind. Sirens wailed. Cop cars screeching around corners. Ducked into dumpster alley. Breath ragged. Hargrove's voice crackled over megaphone blocks away. No mercy for traitors. She's a dead woman. Calm silent. Team still blocked. But recorder's proof was live. Viral now. Thanks to Marcus, before he'd stabbed her in back. Pressed against dumpster. Glass embedded in forearms. Blood dripping on his shoes. Betrayal stung deeper than wounds. Marcus's face flashing in mind. Pins. Promises. All eyes. Hargrove turned ally into weapon. Reached suffocating. Trusted. Nearly killed her. But video out. City boiling. Not done. Ripped strip from sleeve. Tying around arm. Resolve hardening. Hargrove thought he'd won again. Thought he'd crushed spirit. Wrong. We're just heating up. How sick is it that Marcus flipped on Nia for a paycheck from Hargrove? Drop a comment with number 1 if you think trust is dead when even allies sell you out. Then hit that like button. Subscribe to see if Nia gets payback. What would you do if your last hope turned traitor mid-fight? Picture Nia's shoes. Bloodied. Betrayed. Still running. Would you forgive or hunt him down? Slam that subscribe bell for the next blow. Now brace yourself. What's Hargrove cooking up that could make Nia's viral proof a death sentence in plain sight? Nia Jackson limped through Atlanta's alleys. Arms shredded from glass of Marcus Tate's betrayed safe house. Blood dripping on a cracked pavement. Ribs ached from shiv wound. Stitches torn open. Gray's leg throbbed with every step. City pulsed with rage. Viral video of Officer Dale Pute planting cocaine on her sparking protests that lit night with chants and fire. Crowds clashed with cops on Peachtree Street. Molotov cocktails shattering against riot shields. Air thick with tear gas and fury. Nia's proof hit world. Trending on every platform. But Judge Victor Hargrove wasn't buckling. Doubling down. Turning fight into theater. She ducked behind burned-out car. Breath shallow. Rusted pipe from barbershop fight still clutched in hand. Blazer hung in tatters. Soaked with blood and sweat. I stayed sharp. Scanning chaos. Helicopters thumped overhead. Spotlights sweeping streets. Hargrove's voice blared from megaphones. She's a terrorist. No merci. Manhunt morphed into something uglier. Citywide call to arms fueled by lies. Nia's comms dead. Team blocked. But protests gave cover. Slid through side street. Aiming for drainage ditch. Tires screeched behind. Cop vents skidded to stop. Doors flying open. Officers swarmed. Batons raised. Swung pipe. Cracking helmet. But baton slammed shoulder. Same spot Pute hit. Pain exploding like grenade. Stumbled. Another blow, catching ribs. Blood flooding mouth as hit ground. Boots pinned her. Cuffs snapping tight. Officer Shane Carver loomed above. Sunburned neck flushed. Bandaged hand twitching. Gotcha. Sneered. Yanking her up by hair. Vision blurred. Spat blood in face. Earned fist to jaw. Cops dragged her. Beaten. Bruised. Into van. Doors slamming shut as crowds roar faded. Slumped against wall. Body map of pain. Mind raced. Not random. Hargrove had plan. Van rolled to Courthouse Square. Wide plaza ringed by white columns and floodlights. Now stage for Hargrove's vengeance. News chopper circled. Cameras beaming live to millions. Feeds splashed across every screen in Atlanta. Cops hauled Nia out. Legs buckling. Blood streaking face as dragged to center. Noose dangled from makeshift gallows. Rough hemp swaying in breeze. Relic of hate Hargrove dusted off for show. Vigilantes packed square. Confederate flags waving. Shotguns gleaming. Cheers wall of sound. Hang her. Woman screamed. Voice shrill. Face twisted with glee. Nia's stomach churned. Racism raw. Unfiltered. Mob fed by Hargrove's lies. Carver shoved her forward. Pistol jamming into spine. Pute flanked her. Buzz cut slick with sweat. Cheek still scarred from nails. Time to confess, Carver growled. Tobacco breath hot against ear. Camera zoomed in. Feed cutting to Hargrove. Pristine in black suit. Stepping on a platform. Silver hair glinting. Gray eyes cold as raised mic. Nia Jackson. Gulp Kide. Terrorist. Caught at last. She'll admit her crimes before justice is served. Crowd roared. Fists pumping. Noose swaying like promise. Nia's cuffs bit wrists. But felt lockpick tucked in sleeve. Trick from CIA days. Slipped there before gas station stop. Worked it free. Fingers slick with blood. Breath steady despite chaos. Crowd's chants grew louder. Confess. Confess. Hargrove nodded to Carver. Cop grabbed arm. Twisting. Forcing to knees. Say it, hissed. Pistol pressing temple. Nia's jaw clenched. Pain searing ribs. But smiled. Slow. Dangerous. You first, whispered. Lockpick clicked, cuffs open. Blur of motion. Drove elbow into Carver's gut. Snatching gun as doubled over. Spoon. Slamming but into Pute's face. Nose crunching. Blood spraying as fell. Crowd gasped. Then roared. Mix of shock and fury. Nia bolted. Gun in hand. Leg dragging. Weaved through square. Vigilantes lunged. Fists swinging. Fired warning shot. Cracks splitting air. Scattering them. Hargrove's voice boomed. Stop her. The behind news van. Breath ragged. Blood pooling beneath. Chopper's tractor. Lights blinding. Then sky erupted. Drones swarmed. Dozens. Buzzing like hornets. Dropping tear gas canisters. Bursting in thick clouds. Rubber rounds rained down. Pelting crowd. One grazing Nia's thigh as rolled for cover. Coughed. Eyes streaming. Gas choking lungs. Ribs furnace of pain. Square dissolved into chaos. Vigilantes screaming. Cops firing blindly into fog. Crawled. Hands scraping asphalt. Gun lost in scramble. Hargrove's platform loomed through haze. Figure pacing. Meat cracking. Justice served. She's down. Voice dripped triumph. Assuming collapse meant victory. Drones circled. Hum deafening. Trap sprung to bury her live on air. Nia's comms flickered. Static cutting through. Then voice. We're in. Hold on. Team breached something. Maybe feed. Maybe city. But pinned. Choking. Bleeding out. Pressed against curb. Vision fading. News still swaying in distance. Hargrove's gloat echoed. Crowd's cheers dull roar through gas. Fingers dug into pavement. Body failing. Will held. Broken free. Turned stage into battlefield. But he countered with drones. With terror. Spectacle donning proof. Rubber rounds thudded around. Gas thickening. Breath wheeze. Survive trial. Ambush. Manhunt. Only to face this. Public execution masked as justice. But team close. Voice lifeline. Clung to it. Resolve iron. Knowing Hargrove's next move would be boldest yet. Nia Jackson lay sprawled behind curb in Atlanta's courthouse square. Tear gas swirling like shroud. Lungs burning. Coughed up blood. Rubber rounds thudded into pavement. One grazing thigh. Adding to map of pain etched across body. Shredded arms. Torn ribs. Grazed leg. Drones buzzed overhead. Judge Victor Hargrove's brutal encore. Cameras beaming collapse to millions. Blazer hung in rags. Soaked with sweat and crimson. But comms crackle with hope. We're in, CIA team whispered. Lifeline through static. Clung to it. Fingers digging asphalt. Vision blurring as mob's cheers faded into dull roar. Gas thinned. Sirens piercing haze. Boots storm square. Not Hargrove's cops. Men in black. Tactical gear. Vests emblazoned FBI in bold yellow. Moved fast. Barking orders. Cuffing officers Dale Pute and Shane Carver where they sprawled. Days from Nia's fight back. Pute's buzz cut matted with blood. Nose broken. Carver clutched bandaged hand. Sunburned neck pale with shock. Agents hauled them into van. Shouts muffled by slamming doors. Nia's chest tightened. Hope flickering. Team breach system. Hot get feet. Feds here. Pushed up. Leg trembling. Agent spotted her. Nia Jackson? Called. Voice clipped. Professional, she nodded. Staggering to feet. Blood dripping on his shoes. Yeah. Taya investigations. Check my file. Agent tall man with buzzed head and steady eyes signaled team. Surrounded her. Not with guns drawn. With purpose. Choppers above shifted. News anchors stammering on air. Breaking news. Federal agents arrested 2 Atlanta officers linked to Nia Jackson's case. She's been cleared. Protests erupted louder. Crowds surging past barricades. Chanting name. Nia exhaled. Ribs screaming. Thinking it was over. Hargrove's drones grounded. Pawns cuffed. 1. or so it seemed. Agent guided her to black SUV. Engine humming. Sank in a back seat. Body folding into leather. Safe house, agent said, pulling out medkit. Patch thigh. Gauze tight against graze. Other handed water. Gulp down. Cold, easing raw throat. Mind racing. Video planting cocaine gone global. Team amplifying it beyond Hargrove's reach. Lean back. Exhaustion pulling. SUV turn off main road. Weaving into quiet industrial district. Instincts twitched. Where are we going? Asked. Voice tense. Agent up front didn't answer. Jaw tightening. Vehicle stopped at nondescript warehouse. Steel doors sliding open. Reveillingstock interior. Concrete floors. Flickering lights. Metal chair bolted to ground. Nia's pulse spiked. Hand brushing empty sleeve where lockpick had been. Agent grabbed arms. Grip bruising. Dragged inside. Leg dragging. Blood seeping anew. What the hell? Snapped. Twisting. But shoved in a chair. Cuffs snapping around wrists and ankles. Tall agent stepped back. Face blank. Hargrove emerged from shadows. Black suit pristine. Silver hair glinting. Surprise, said. Gray eyes cold. Smirk curling lips. Nia's stomach dropped. Betrayal sinking in. FBI. Rasped. Voice cutting silence. Hargrove chuckled. Low. Cruel. Bought and paid for. Local branch answers to me. Nodded to agents. Pulled hose from corner. Hooking to tank. Water gushed. Icy. Relentless. Aimed at face. Gasped. Choking. Torrent slamming head back. Flooding nose and mouth. Hours blurred into nightmare. Waterboarding relentless. Ribs furnace of pain. Shredded arms stinging as cuffs bit deeper. Coughed blood. Vision spotting. Mind clung to defiance. Hargrove watched. Pacing. Shoes clicking on concrete. Stopped. Crouching close. Shundalvoot cologne cutting wet stench. You're nothing now, said. Voice blade. Your team's blocked. Your proof's noise. I own this city. Nia spat water and blood. Eyes locking on his. Look outside, croaked. Grin, tugging busted lip. Hargrove frowned. Standing. Glanced at monitor on wall. Screen flickered. Showing protests swelling. Rioters smashing cop cars. News feeds crashing with video. Then static. Team's voice broke through comms. Faint but clear. We've hacked the FBI servers. His bribes are live. Hargrove's face paled. Smirk vanishing. Hands clenching into fists. Spun to agents. Barking. Kill her. Tall one hesitated. Eyes darting to monitor. Sir, it's out. Bank records. Calls. Everything. Hargrove roared. Grabbing gun from agent's holster. Aiming at Nia's head. I'll do it myself. Stared him down. Water dripping from chin. Voice steady. Too late, Victor. You're done. Agent tackled him. Wrestling gun away. Panic spreading through room. Nia's comms crackled louder. We're coming. Hold on. Slumped. Body failing. Spirit blazed. Hargrove's federal trap backfired. Team exposing corruption mid-torture. Warehouse trembled with distant explosions. Atlanta igniting. How twisted is it that Hargrove bribed the FBI to torture Nia after she was cleared? Drop a comment with number 1 if you think this judge's power grab deserves a reckoning. Then smash that like button. Subscribe to see him fall. What would you do if the feds you trusted turned on you mid-fight? Imagine Nia's place. Waterboard. Cuffed. Staring down gun. Would you break or spit back? Hit that subscribe bell for the next clash. Now picture this. What chaos is brewing outside that could turn Nia's rescue into a war she can't control? Nia Jackson slumped in metal chair inside warehouse. Wrists and ankles raw from cuffs. Water dripping from chin after hours of waterboarding. Blood seeped from torn ribs. Shredded arms stung. Gray's thigh pulsed under soaked gauze. FBI agents who turned stood frozen. Tactical gear glinting under flickering lights. Judge Victor Hargrove raged. Silver hair wild. Gray eyes blazing. Team's hack just gone live. Exposing bribes to feds. Bank records splashing across every screen in Atlanta. Monitor on wall flickered with chaos. Protests erupting. Cop cars burning. City igniting under weight of truth. Warehouse trembled. Distant explosions rattling concrete. Doors burst open. Rioters flooded in. Faces masked. Fists clutching pipes and bricks. Justice for Nia. Woman screamed. Voice-cutting din smashed chair against agent's helmet. Feds fired. Bullets cracking air. Crowd surged, overwhelming them. Nia twisted in cuffs. Ribs screaming. Kicked chairs bolt loose. Tumbling free as rioter. Wiry kid with bandana. Slashed restraints with knife. Go! Yelled, shoving dead agent's pistol into hand. Staggered up. Blood pooling beneath. Gun heavy in grip. Room spun. Smoke curling from Molotov cocktail, shattering against wall. Flames licking ceiling. Hargrove bolted. Black suit vanishing into chaos. Agents scattering as rioters pummeled them. Nia limped through melee. Leg dragging. Comms crackling faintly. We're pinned. Team hissed. Voices lost in static. Stumbled outside. Night, air thick with ash. Atlanta's skyline haze of orange and black. Crowds clash blocks away. Chants echoing. No more lies. Needed leverage. Needed to end this. Burning precinct loomed ahead. Windows shattered. Cops fleeing as protesters stormed doors. Pushed inside. Boots crunching glass. Air hot with smoke and cordite. Officer Dale Pute crouched behind desk. Buzzcut matted with soot. Cheeks scarred. Spoon. Pistol raised. Nia fired first. Bullet grazing arm. Blood spraying. Drop gun. You're done. Rasped. Shoving him against wall. Pistol jamming into throat. Eyes widened. Fear replacing scowl. Hargrove's gone. Don't know where. Stammered. Voice cracking. Nia grabbed phone from pocket. Hitting record. Voice steady despite pain. Confess. Now. Pute swallowed. Sweat beading forehead. Precinct trembling as explosion rocked street. Okay. I planted the coke. Hargrove ordered it. Said she was trouble. Needed to go down. Nia's lips curled. Grim smile. Streamed it live. Teams hacked feed, amplifying words to world. Keep talking, growled. Pressing harder. The trial. The ambush. All of it. He rigged jury. Paid Carver and me to shank her. Told feds to finish it. He runs everything. Confession lit up screens. Protesters cheering outside. Roars shaking walls. Nia stepped back. Victory close. Hand trembling on gun. You're finished, said. Turning to limp. Out. Feed still rolling. Air shifted. Shadow flickering on rooftop across street. Crack split night. Snipers bullets slamming into shoulder. Same spot battered before. Pain exploding like wildfire. Fell. Gun skittering away. Blood pooling as more shots rained down. Hargrove's voice crackled over loudspeaker. She's a liar. This city's mine. Private militia arrived. Black-clad figures rappelling from buildings. Rifles spitting fire in a crowd. Rubble pin Nia. Chunk of wall collapsing over legs. Comms buzzing. Broadcast. He's next. Fumbled for phone. Fingers slick. Streaming live again. Hargrove's militia's here. He's killing us all. Croaked. Feed shaky but clear. Protesters scattered. Screams piercing smoke. Militia gunners mowed down anyone in sight. Nia rolled. Dragging self behind charred desk. Shoulder furnace. Ribs leaking crimson. Precinct blazed. Flames licking ceiling. Saw Hargrove's silhouette on rooftop. Barking orders. Suit pristine amid carnage. Torched own evidence. Fleeing with empire crumbling. Team's comms cut through. Faint. Urgent. We're pinned down. Militias everywhere. Breath wheezed. Vision spotting. Phone slipping from hand. Chopper roared overhead. Blades slicing smoke. Floodlights blinding. Not hers. Hargrove's. Bullets stitched ground around. Concrete splintering. Body failing under onslaught. Forced Pute's confession. Turned tide. But Hargrove's counterstrike was slaughter. Militia wall of death. City burned. Proof drowned in blood. Cornered. Alone. Strength fading. Hargrove's voice echoed. Final taunt. This ends tonight. Clenched fists. Defiance last weapon. Fight wasn't over. Nia Jackson lay pinned under rubble in burning precinct. Blood pooling from sniper's bullet and shoulder. Ribs leaking crimson from reopened shiv wound. Smoke-choked air. Flames licking shattered walls. Roar of Atlanta's riots deafening pulse outside. Grazed leg throbbed. Shredded arms trembled. Grip on phone stayed firm. Streaming Pute's confession live. Hargrove's militia rained bullets from rooftops. Black-clad figures cutting through chaos. Slaughtering protesters to bury truth. Comms buzzed faintly. Team lost in static. We're pinned. Coughed blood. Vision spotting. Choppers roar slice night. Descended. Blades whipping smoke into vortex. Floodlights blinding. Hovered over ruins. Not Hargrove's. Hers. CIA logo gleamed on side. Lifeline cutting carnage. Chest heaved. Relief flooding battered body. Rope ladder dropped. Figure wrap held down. Silhouette sharp against flames. Lena Cole, Nia's deputy, landed with thud. Dark hair tied back. Taktikil vest snug. Nia shouted, rushing over. Brown eyes wide with urgency. Kicked rubble aside. Kneeling beside. Hands steady checking wounds. Hang on, boss. We've got you. Nia nodded. Voice rasp. Lena. Thank God. Get me out. Lena cut phone's feed. Pocketing it. Pulled medkit. Injected Nia with syringe. Painkiller. Numbing fire in shoulder. Ribs easing. Lena's fingers worked fast. Wrapping gauze. Touch firm but gentle. Pute's confession is everywhere, said. Voice low. Steady. Hargrove's losing it. We've got agents moving on his bunker. Nia gripped arm. Weak but alive. Handed over blood-smeared phone. Keep it safe. It's everything. Lena nodded. Helping Nia to feet. Arm strong around waist. Chopper's ready. Let's go. Limp to ladder. Leg dragging. Body wreck. Lena's presence steadied her. Climbed. Wind blasting face. Flames swirling below. Collapsed in a chopper's bay. Roar of blades drowning city's chaos. Breath shallow but sure. Lena strapped and beside. Pilot lifting off. Atlanta shrinking beneath. Eyes fluttered. Exhaustion pulling. Forced them open. Locking on Lena. Where's the team? Lena's face tightened. Jaw clenching. Still pinned. Militia's got streets locked. Nodded. Trusting deputy's grit. Trained her for this. Chopper banked. Soaring over burning rooftops. Lena leaned close. Voice whisper over engines. You're a legend out there, Nia. This ends him. Nia smiled faintly. Busted lips stinging. Sharp prick stung neck. Flinched. Hand flying up. Feeling second syringe in Lena's grip. What? Croaked. Vision swimming. Limbs growing heavy. Lena's eyes hardened. Smirk curling lips. Hargrove pays better. Heart sank. Betrayal cutting deeper than bullet. Body slumped. Drug paralyzing. Tongue thick. Lena yanked her from seat. Dragging to open bay door. Wind howling. City blur below. Sorry boss hissed. Shoving Nia out. Fell. Air rushing past. Scream trapped in throat. Chopper vanished above. Crashed into dumpster. Metal buckling underweight. Trash cushioning fall. Pain exploded through ribs. Shoulder. World spinning black. Clung to consciousness. Breath wheeze. Alive. Barely. Alley stank. Loot. Dumpster's lid creaking as rolled out. Hitting pavement hard. Blood pooled beneath. Drug-numbing body. But not mind. Above, Lena's chopper faded. Phone gone. Proof gone. Comms silent. Team blind. Crawled. Shredded arms dragging. Glass crunching under palms. Reached payphone. Cord dangling in shadows. Fingers trembled. Smearing blood on keys. Dialing secure line. Plan B, croaked. Voice thread. Slumped. Phone clattering as strength gave out. Hargrove's face flickered on nearby billboard. Voice booming through news feed. Nia Jackson's dead. A terrorist brought to justice. Silver hair gleamed. Gray eyes smug. Claiming victory as riots raged. Frame team as rogues. Death lie to bury fight. Breath hitched. Rage fueling fading pulse. Lena's betrayal not just personal. Hargrove's ace. Dagger to heart and mission. But Plan B activated. Undercover agents. Shadow unit. Even Lena didn't know. Moving now. Silent. Lethal. Hargrove gloated too soon. Empire teetering. But Nia down. Bleeding. Family's safety gnawing at mind. Pressed against alley wall. Body wreck. Blazer tatters. Drugs slowed her. Well burned. Fire Hargrove couldn't douse. Lena's smirk flashed in memory. Hargrove pays better. Chopper's roar lingered. Betrayal never saw coming. Trusted Lena with life. Proof. Fight. Now alone. Hunted. Team framed. City burning. But plan B in motion. Last card. Hargrove's gloating would cost him. War wasn't over. Shifting. Next stand would be fiercest yet. Nia Jackson crawled from dumpster's wreckage. Body tapestry of pain. Blood oozing from reopened shiv wound. Shoulder pulsing where bullet tore through. Arm shredded. Grazed leg dragging. Alley reeked of rot and gasoline. Atlanta's riots' distant roar. Sky bruised smoke and flame. Lena Cole's betrayal burned. Deputy's syringe leaving limbs heavy. Breath wheezes slumped against payphone. Call. Plan B. Activated undercover CIA unit. Shadow team, even Lena didn't know. Time bleeding out with strength. Pressed hand to ribs. Blood seeping through fingers. Footsteps echoed sharp. Swift. Nia tensed. Fumbling for shard of glass and filth. Figures emerged. 3 agents in plain clothes. Faces hard. Guns holstered but ready. Nia, leader whispered. Wiry man with scar across cheek. Plan B is live. We've got Hargrove's bunker. Nodded. Voice rasped. Move fast. He's got my family. Hauled her up. Legs buckling. Blood dripping on her boots. Half carried her through maze of alleys. City's chaos shield. Sirens wailed. Choppers thumped. Agents slipped past. Shadows and firelight. Van waiting in burned-out lot. Drive blur. Slumped him back. Gauze pressed to wounds. Painkiller Lena injected fading. Leaving raw agony. Bunker loomed on Atlanta's outskirts. Squat concrete fortress ringed by razor wire. Hargrove's last stand. Agents breached silent. Lethal. Cutting power. Smoke grenades popping as stormed inside. Nia staggered out. Leaning on scarred agent. Vision spotting. Will iron. Gunfire crackled. Militia grunts falling. Black gear no match for team's precision. Push forward. Blood trailing. Drag Hargrove from steel vault. Silver hair wild. Black suit torn. Knelt in bunker's heart. Cavernous room lined with screens flashing her face. Propaganda still spinning her as dead. Agents cuffed him. Gray eyes blazing hate. Nia stepped close. Voice cutting haze. I'm CIA investigations chief. You're done. Nodded to laptop. Team pulling files. Recordings of orders to frame her. Bribes to feds. Calls greenlighting malicious slaughter. Evidence piled. Mountain of corruption. Hargrove's sneer faltered. Hands trembling in cuffs. You think this ends me? Spat. Voice snarl. I built this city. Nia swayed. Strength fading. Gaze held him. And I'm burning it down. Agent convent secret tribunal. Makeshift court in bunker's gloom. Faces grim playing files. Voices echoed. Pew confessing frame up. Carver admitting shiv attack. Hargrove's own words ordering death. Scarred agent read verdict. Tone flat. Guilty. Conspiracy. Corruption. Murder. Hargrove roared. Lunging at Nia. Agent slammed him back. Cuffs clanking. You'll pay. Screamed. Spit flecking lips. You'll all pay. Nia exhaled. Victory close. Body failing. Thinking it over. Then Lena's voice crackled over intercom. Sharp. Cold. I've got your family. Froze. Heart lurching. Room tilting. Screens flickered. Showing husband Jamal and daughter Aisha. Bound in warehouse. Duct tape over mouths. Lena pacing with gun. Hargrove laughed. Jagged sound. Eyes glinting. You lose, Jackson. Checkmate. Breath caught. Rage surging through pain. Lena's betrayal cut deep. But this, family, knife to soul. Where? Rasped. Grabbing Hargrove's collar. Blood-smearing suit. Grinned. Silent. Taunting. Shove him back. Turning to agents. Find them. Now. Stumbled out. Gun drawn from agent's holster. Team scrambling coordinates from feed. Scarred agent patch comms. Voice urgent. Rigged warehouse. 5 miles east. Explosives detected. Ran. Leg buckling. Blood trailing. Night. Air cold. Agents piled into van. Tires screeching. Raced through Atlanta's burning streets. Past rioters and militia clashing. City war zone sheet ignited. Warehouse loomed. Rusted shell by river. Windows dark. Trap waiting. Kick door open. Gun raised. Body wreck. Will blade. Explosions rocking distance as Hargrove's chaos spread. One bunker. Buried Hargrove in filth. But Lena held Hart hostage. Reckoning wasn't over. Personal now. Fight far from done. Nia Jackson stormed into rusted warehouse by Atlanta's river. Gun trembling in blood-slick hands. Body wreckage of pain. Ribs oozing. Shoulder throbbing. Arm shredded. Leg dragging. Air stank of oil and damp rot. Darkness broken by flickering emergency lights. Concrete floor through eerie shadows. Jamal and Aisha sat bound in center. Duct tape sealing mouths. Eyes wide with terror. Lena Cole's betrayal brought her here. Deputy's voice echoed. "I've got your family." Breath wheezed. Vision spotting. Resolve burned like torch. Swept shadows. Gun raised. Boots crunching debris. Figure sprawled ahead caught eye. Lena, crumpled against crate. Dark hair matted with blood. Tactical vest tone. Bullet hole pierced chest. Gun limp in hand. Brown eyes glassy. Dead. Nia froze. Pulse hammering. Betrayal twisting into confusion. Lena didn't just turn. She'd been played too. Footsteps echoed behind. Sharp. Deliberate. Spoon. Gun trained on Judge Victor Hargrove. Stood in doorway. Silver hair wild. Black suit smeared with bunker dust. Detonator gleaming in hand. Surprise. Sneered. Gray eyes glinting malice. Stomach lurched. Rage surging. "You killed her," rasped. Nodding at Lena's body. Voice cutting silence. Hargrove chuckled. Jagged sound. Stepping closer. Shoes clicking. She outlived her use. Thought she'd cash out big. But I don't share victories. Double-crossed Lena. Pawn turned liability. Leaving Nia to face him alone. Jamal strained against ropes. Muffled cries. Aisha whimpered. Small frame shaking. Bomb ticked in corner. Red digits glowing. 3 minutes counting down. Nia's grip tightened. Shoulder screaming. Blood dripping on her boots. "You're done," Hargrove said. Voice steady despite haze. "Your bunker's gone. Your crimes live. My agents are coming." Laughed. Raising detonator. Thumb hovering over trigger. "Not fast enough. This ends you. Your family. Your little revolution." Nia lunged. Grazed leg buckling. Fired. Bullet ripping through his shin. Roared. Dropping detonator. Blood spraying as staggered back. Dove. Snatching at mid-fall. Ribs furnace of agony. Rolled. Fingers fumbling disarm code. Sequence from CIA drills. Timer froze at 10 seconds. Beep silencing warehouse. Still. Hargrove snarled. Clutching leg. Charge her. Bulk slamming her against crate. Pain exploded through shoulder. Gun skittering across floor. Twisted. Driving elbow into throat. Choked. Stumbling. Grab collar. Hurling him toward edge of loading platform. River loomed below. Black. Churning. Steel rebar jutting from banks like jagged teeth. For Atlanta. Hissed. Shoving hard. Flailed. Scream cut short. Fell. Impaling on rebar with sickening crunch. Blood pooling in water. Silver hair sinking last. Nia collapsed. Breath wheeze. Crawled to Jamal and Aisha. Tearing ropes free. Trembling hands. Jamal ripped tape off. "Nia, you're alive." Aisha sobbed. Clinging to her. Small arms tight around neck. Mommy held them. Blood smearing clothes. Body failing. Heart whole. "It's done," whispered. Busted lip curling into faint smile. Sirens wailed closer. Agents breaching warehouse. Shouts blur as secured scene. Slumped. Exhaustion claiming her. Fight finally over. Screen fades to newsroom hours later. Anchor's voice crisp over footage of Hargrove's impaled body pulled from river. Judge Victor Hargrove, mastermind of Atlanta's corruption, dead after violent standoff. Nia Jackson, CIA investigations chief, exonerated. Team exposing nationwide racist cabal linked to crimes. Clips rolled. Pute's confession. Lena's betrayal. Hacked FBI files spreading like wildfire. Protests swelled across country. Crowds chanting justice. Tearing down old symbols. Nia's agents stormed precincts. Cuffs snapping on cops and officials. Legacy igniting reckoning beyond ashes. May you find strength to challenge injustice wherever it hides.